Hey, what's up? I guess I'll just read the questions and give the answers for this assignment. The first one is, how did the entrepreneurial operating system help him systemize the business? What lessons can be applied to other acquisitions? Um, I like what it talked about in the hiring process, how they used to, with his father's company, hire people from word of mouth and from like convenience, which obviously did not work out as well. And I like how he chose values that were important to him and that would be profitable for the company and hired based off that rubric. So kind of like setting those values and putting that in the system within the hiring process. I also thought it was cool how they used that to automate things. Like for example, and track things like the GPS they put in the trucks that really solved a lot of the problems and huge inefficiencies that his father kind of dealt with within the transition. So I guess a lesson of that for other acquisitions is find thing. I just like the value part, right? How it was important to him to find the values, make a rubric, and put that in hiring decisions. I've talked to business leaders that say that hiring is the most important part of running a business, and and I guess that would help with it. So that's a lesson learned. The second question is, how did defining clear processes help him navigate this transition with his father's legacy and making the necessary changes for growth? And what risks do the business owners face when they fail to document and implement scalable systems? For the first question about defining the process, defining clear processes for the transition, I guess I would kind of say the same thing as the last answer, and not as much original stuff. For the second question, though, I feel like the risk that many people, many business owners can face is kind of the failure of the business. Like, I mean, and I think that becomes in legal things too, right? Like the people that took the car for 3 days and had it lost for a while. There could have been major lawsuits if they stole that car, if the employer was driving it and got killed or killed someone else in the process of driving it outside of work time, and that could totally bring it down. And also just loss of money in general, right? I'm sure things were lost in the books. I mean, I'm sure there could be instances of fraud within the company that were on accident that could take the business down. A lot of different examples, but I believe that would be how the process could be pretty important. The next one is saying, how did an entrepreneurial operating system help him align the right people with the right roles? I think that kind of goes with the rubric thing. But for the second one, how do people and processes work together to determine the company's success? I like in the conclusion where it said that the people and the process were the most important things for the success of the company. And maybe that's a general rule, which would make sense to me because like the people do the stuff and the process is how they do the stuff. And I feel like that would be pretty basic to the business. It seemed like he had a lot of success after there was that whole turnover with the people. And after he implemented a process. It didn't seem like they really had a process before. And I'm sure there have been some rocky times with his father's business, but with this new people and process, I'm sure the company became much more profitable, or else I don't think we'd be hearing from him tomorrow. The next one is, if you were ETA searcher considering the family business acquisition, how would you evaluate the company's existing people and process? I was debating that. I'm not completely sure, but I like what Adam did going into the company before they knew he would buy it, so that he knew kind of what it was like. Because at the time they're like, oh, he's just his son, he's just here. So he got to know the people, and I think the immediate change in the operator of the business really made it really made the flaws evident. And so I think that's a good way to do it, although I would understand as well kind of phasing in. It seemed like it wasn't really Adam's option, that it was kind of with the dad that decided that. But I think that would be a good way to do it. Although, I mean, I do see merit in the other side, being with and working with the company for years, kind of like in Chick-fil-A, how for someone to own a store, they have to work in every position. I think that could also be very valuable if you're buying a family business. You can work in every position that's there, and that way you really know the problems and the business well. And maybe I would lean more towards that, working it for a while, and throughout time, having people gain your respect as the operator, or as the owner. It says, what specific due diligence steps would you make to ensure you're acquiring a scalable business, not just the founder's expertise? I know this is an instrumental part of the due diligence, but looking through the books, I think would be crucial for this step. I like that Adam did it with his father. It was kind of a good opportunity to see what the weaknesses are, be really open, and then the father there could explain things. The family acquisitions have a level of trust that you can't have in other ones, and so I think that would be cool, as well as vetting the employees thoroughly, and just trying to find things that Adam knowing his father, that he would be able to find in the business, and looking it over thoroughly. But anyways, about 7 minutes, so I'll end it now.